we have an absolute mound of 2000s tech to take a look at today and just see what isn't working. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been busy. I put out a couple of posts across social media asking for a range of devices that were really getting quite hard to find. Obviously, I was willing to pay postage, etc. And thankfully, the community, you guys, and other people as well, reached out, and I was able to get quite a lot of the bits that I wanted to get. And so today, we're going to take a look at what I've received, and we're going to see what's working, what isn't, and kind of get everything ready for future videos. Essentially, we're going to be using all of this stuff in videos over the next couple of months. And I just want to make sure what's working, what isn't, what I'm going to have to do some stuff with. And yeah, I thought it would be interesting for all of you to see what we have. So what do we have? Well, we have 3 iBooks, 2 G4s and a G3. We have a G4 iMac, which, well, part of it's here. We'll explain that in a second. We have a Motorola Xoom Tablet. I think that's how you pronounce it. The first tablet to run Android Honeycomb. We have the G1, T-Mobile G1, or the HTC Dream, the original Android phone. And we have the HTC Magic, which is my first Android phone. I kind of missed the G1 and got the next phone. So we're going to have a look at all of those just very briefly, make sure they're working for future videos. And yeah, we're going to start with the G4 iMac, mainly because I've already kind of started taking it apart and getting it clean. Because when it arrived to me, it was pretty dirty, to say the least. And I didn't actually even film any of it. I just got straight down to cleaning. But here are some photos of what it looked like on the outside. And I knew that that meant that on the inside was going to be even worse. And lo and behold, I think it wasn't just dust bunnies, it was dust elephants. I don't know, massive amounts of dust in here. So I've already kind of given it a bit of a clean up. The main board kind of looked like this. But now does look like this. It's still a bit dusty, but it's in a lot better shape. So I'm going to clear my desk and we're going to have a look at the G4 iMac first and then have a look at everything else. So here's the main board from this G4. It did actually boot up when I got it. I did test that it powered on. There doesn't seem to be anything on the hard drive, which is fine because we're going to replace the hard drive anyway. But yeah, this is the main board and generally it's looking in pretty good condition. What we do have here is one of the much earlier G4 iMacs. This is only the 800 megahertz version, which I think is basically the lowest, maybe not the lowest, but one of the lower end early G4 iMacs. It does have 256 megabytes of RAM there, and these iMacs are quite funny because they have that port inside, which obviously is a little bit harder to get to, but on the bottom they also have the kind of traditionally laptop style memory slot, so you can actually add memory here. And I think it's quite unique in the fact that it has 2 different form factors for its memory. Can't think of many other devices that do that. You have to comment down below if you know any. So yeah, that's kind of what we have at the moment. It's 256 megabytes of RAM. In the main video for this, we probably will upgrade that. And we do have a little SSD that I'm going to pop in here now while we put it back together. And then, yeah, you know, it is the lower end of things. It's got an NVIDIA GeForce 2 MX, which has 32 megabytes of DRAM, I believe. And generally, it's not too bad. All over, the kind of frosted finish has gone very, very dirty. We gave it a good wipe, and so it's like, it is clean, but it's just completely stained. So I'm thinking I might actually try and remove a lot of that. In fact, on the main unit, a lot of it's already coming off anyway. But yeah, this is it. So let's get the rest of it and let's get it put back together. Okay, so we are now all back together. As you can see, it's definitely cleaner, but it's still pretty grubby. I've started to kind of, I think, rub away the like frosted coating that was on here. It was already rubbing away in bits anyway. It was a bit of a state. So I'm kind of trying to rub it away completely because then it will actually be quite clean. Whereas the frosting here is really quite dirty, even though that it's been wiped multiple times with alcohol wipes and it is clean. It's just stained. So yeah, going to try and kind of get rid of that frosting and it'll be a bit more glossy. Don't think it's a bad look, but anyway, let's try and get this thing booted. It's definitely trying to do something. I've got a burn CD of OS X 10.2, I believe, which is what this supports, again, because it's one of the earlier iMacs. And the CD drive does sound like it's trying to spin up, but we're not getting the screen where it shows the OS isn't installed on the hard drive, which leads me to believe that for some reason it's not liking my hard drive, my SSD with its adapter. It could be between cramming it all in there, something's come loose, I'm not sure. It's very frustrating. And also the disk drive just does not seem to be successfully booting into that disk, which is frustrating. So this is not in an ideal position, but this is where this is. So definitely look out for a video very soon on us specifically trying to fix this G4 iMac and see what we can do with it. Okay, on to the next tech. Next up, we have this HTC Magic with Google. And this was actually my first smartphone. This was the first time I touched Android with Android 1.6. And boy, was I excited. So let's have a look at this. Well, first off, let's try and boot it, turn it on. I have charged all these things up, so as long as the battery's still remotely good, we should be okay. And it looks like we are. Excellent. So, like I say, this was definitely my first smartphone. And it's kind of crazy to look at the screen size of this when you compare it to something like this. My CMF phone. Yeah. We've definitely come a long way in terms of screen size, but this was definitely very pocketable and kind of easy to use. Kind of loved this size. And in terms of the outside, obviously we have a speaker grill at the top, we have some buttons, and we have physical buttons for things like home, menu, calling and hanging up, back button and search button. And then this here is actually a trackball, which you can kind of use to navigate, because yes, the touchscreens on these were not super amazing. And yeah, we are working. So like, there you go. You can kind of move about and click it to open things. So that's kind of cool. Around the back, you do have a camera. There is no front facing camera long before that existed. We do have a small camera on the back. And then we have on the bottom here. Now, I think this was a proprietary HTC port, if I remember correctly. Thankfully, I do have a cable that fits this. But yeah, this was kind of before even like USB Mini became a standard for phones. And just a quick look just to see what we are actually running here, so I know when it comes to doing the video. It's obviously all working quite nicely. And we have Android 2.2.1, so this has been updated. I dare say this was probably the newest version of Android that this phone supported officially. Obviously, you could install custom ROMs and what have you. There's no SD card, but the camera is working. This is a bit more of a win compared to the iMac, definitely. So happy with this. Back over to Apple, and this is a iBook G3. And my understanding is actually that this works perfectly, which is kind of cool. So we'll take a look at that. I will say first things first, the battery looks a bit bulgy there, so I'm not sure the battery is going to be any good. But I kind of expect that. It's not really the end of the world at all. And it is in generally okay condition, really. It's not too bad. We have a full-size tray, not slot loading CD drive. And then around this side, we have a couple of USB ports. I think this is VGA Mini, which basically only Apple did, because that's Apple. Headphone port, Firewire, and then you've got Ethernet and a modem. So let's get the plug for this and give it a go. It's also worth noting that the plug that it came with actually still has the protective plastic on the main plug bit, and you know we're going to remove that. Oh, that is nice. And I believe the other side, oh, yep, here we go. Oh, look at that, pristine. These cables are actually pretty hard to come by now. They're pretty expensive, and they have this little protector cap on here as well. And it kind of looks like a pill, and you just plug that into your computer. So there we go. All right, let's get this set up. All right, here we go. Here is the inside. We've got the trackpad, mouse, keyboard. Now the keyboard is incredibly spongy. I believe this is possibly the worst keyboard Apple ever came out with. It's really spongy. It's got lots of travel with the keyboard itself. And that's kind of because the whole keyboard actually freaking pops out like that. And then you can access where you would put the optional Wi-Fi card. And then if you remove this, that's where you'll get to the user upgradable RAM slot, because I believe this then has soldered RAM built in as well. Again, Apple screwing over the consumer since 2000 odd. Anyway, let's boot it up and see if it works. It's booting. Excellent. And that took a little while to boot up, but there we go. We are in. Let's see if I can just zoom in a little bit, and we can have a look here at this Mac. So obviously there is no Wi-Fi card, it was missing, but we have a 900 megahertz PowerPC G3, and we have 128 megabytes of RAM. So not too shabby at all, and of course we can upgrade the RAM quite easily. It's working, so that's the important thing, especially for my plans for this. So yeah, this is excellent. On to the next thing. So next up we have my 12-inch G4 iBook. Very similar to the G3. Few differences. For one, there's a slot loading disk drive. Again, this is in pretty good condition. Same kind of ports available on that side. It's definitely been entered before because all the rubber feet are missing, which means someone's gone in and unscrewed them. And the one thing that they have dramatically improved upon is the keyboard. This is much less spongy and much more usable. That's a bit clicky. That's interesting. But yeah, this one I know the screen doesn't work on, and it will boot, and it will chime and it will make the right noises, but the screen never turns on, which makes me believe that the screen on this is dead. So I'm going to take this one apart, and we're going to have a look and see if maybe it's not dead. Maybe someone just went in to do something and forgot to plug something back in. So we have to take this apart. I sound reluctant to that because these are some of the most fiddly, painful things to take apart. To replace the hard drive in this, it's a 40-step process on iFixit. So I'm looking forward to this. But anyway, let's just get it done and let's see if this works. Well, with all that done, let's turn it back. Let's turn it on and see what happens. We'll plug it in because, again, I'm pretty sure the battery is shot. And let's see what happens. Not sure if you heard that, but it did just chime. And I can feel the fan has kicked in. And it's vibrating, so I'm assuming the disk is spinning as well. But nothing on the screen. Is there anything in the disk drive, is there? I don't think so. Okay, so again, at least I know where this is. We've got a project for this one, which might not actually need the screen anyway. So that could be quite cool. Anyway, that's where this one is. On to the next one. This is the final Mac that we have to look at, and this is the big boy. This is a 14-inch G4 iMac, and it's in a little bit of a worse shape, to be fair. There's quite a few marks about. Yeah, it's not great. Slot loading again. You don't get any extra ports or anything. It's just bigger screen. And this one, the person was unsure its condition because it didn't have a power cable. They didn't know what was going on with it. So We're going to try and power it up and see what happens. So with it powering up and displaying that white screen, it normally means there is a hardware issue. I'm leading to believe it's probably going to be the hard drive. We had the same sort of thing with that iMac. That tends to be what happens. So again, let's take it apart, and we're going to replace that hard drive with an SSD. Here we're actually going to use an IDE to M.2 SSD because it is a lot smaller. It's that kind of laptop size. It's exactly what we need. So let's try that out and let's see what happens. Well, that was an incredibly painful process once again. So let's open it up, let's plug it in, and let's see what we get. Just excellent. So I don't know if you can see this, but we're actually getting this was what the screen that I wanted to see on the iMac. And it's basically saying that it can't find an operating system on the hard drive, which means it's booted correctly. The hard drive is working because it's able to access it, but there's nothing on there. Rightfully so, the hard drive was just put in. So from here, we'll be able to install an operating system and use this one. I also noticed there's a bit of a crack in the plastic there, but that's fine. Again, these things are not going to be perfect, not with this much plastic this late into the game. Very happy that this one is, however, completely usable. Again, perfect for what I have planned for it in the future. All right, on to something else that isn't made by Apple. Next up, we have the T-Mobile G1 or the HTC Dream, depending on what region you're in. This is where it all started. This is the first Android phone, and I've wanted one of these for absolutely ages. And the fact that it came in the box, amazing. Don't think it's got any accessories with it. I think it is just the phone itself. Okay, I lied. It has the cleaning cloth, G1 branded. That's kind of cool. But then this is the phone itself. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this box is otherwise empty. Yeah, it's empty. And this just fell off, which I think is probably from... Yeah. So there's a bit of glass. It's supposed to sit over the camera there and be embedded, but the glue is long since dried up. That's fine. Nonetheless, this is where it all began, and I'm very excited to do kind of a video on this, a bit of a retrospective, really looking into it, because this was, well, it changed the world, really. That alongside the iPhone, of course, and it does have that kind of iconic QWERTY keyboard, which even today, it's kind of nice. You know, there's a good little bit of travel. The buttons could be maybe a little bit more sticking out so that you can better touch type, but genuinely, it's pretty cool. And similar buttons from the HTC Magic. You've got your home menu, back, answer and decline buttons, and also another trackpad nubbin. Again, because touchscreens at this point were just not very good. And it's booted up, which is excellent. So very happy with that. And yeah, it looks to me like we're running, so yes, we're definitely running an older version compared to the Magic. So let's just have a quick look here. And for this, yep, we have 1.6. So this is the version of Android that I actually started with on the Magic. And I remember it fondly. I was a big fan of Android at this time. It was very cool. But yeah, everything seems to be working with that. It's not in the most amazing condition. It's got quite rubbery plastics that have definitely started to chip away, which is understandable, but it's working. Again, going to be super fun to do a full video on this. Very excited. Final bit of tech, we have the Motorola Xoom here, which this was essentially like the first proper Android tablet. It was running Honeycomb, which was Google's first version of Android designed for tablets. There were plenty of tablets before this, but they were essentially just big phones. They used the phone UI and there was nothing kind of special about them. This is where it kind of really started for actual tablets. And I think this is kind of fairly complete in here. We've got the actual tablet itself in a rubberized case, which is kind of nice because, yeah, the top of this thing is made of that rubber that goes very, very sticky. I'm not sure we can really show that on camera, but this is sticky. It's horrible. So having this nicer silicone around it is definitely nice. Let's try and boot this up. So around this, we've got micro USB there, and I think that's micro HDMI or mini HDMI. I always forget which it is, but it's one of those. And a couple of pogo pins as well, and some other port. That might be the charger, maybe? Question mark? Not 100% sure on that one. There's something going on there. We've got the volume rocker is around this side, kind of hidden by the case. And then around the back, you have got the power button around the back, camera, and a speaker. And this really was the first like super tablet that Android was really trying to get into the tablet game. It is filthy. It definitely needs a clean. And again, very excited to do a full video on this. Let's see if this will boot. Yes, and it is dual core. So again, it was really cutting edge at the time. Looks like we've got all the cables and stuff in there as well. We'll have a full unboxing in the full video, but I just wanted to make sure that this is up and running. And it's running CyGen mod. Okay. Yeah, now this is a flashback. So this has been installed with the custom ROM, a custom ROM that doesn't really exist anymore. Lineage OS is your closest. It's kind of the lineage from this. A lot of history there, which maybe we'll have to go into when we review this tablet fully. But yeah, this is working. Obviously, it's very much got the date and time wrong. And there isn't a whole lot installed here. It's definitely been wiped, but we have it working, and it is running Android 4.2.2. So again, it has been updated past what was originally on here, but that's cool. And it's kind of cool to see that we actually have a custom ROM here as well, because I'd quite like to do a video on custom ROMs and the history of that and kind of the Wild West that was back then, because you just don't have that anymore. But anyway, this is working as well. Happy days. So there we have it, something a little bit different for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm certainly excited to really dig into all those different devices and everything that we have. There's some cool tech there that I'm really excited about. It's a shame that the iMac wasn't working as well as I was hoping, but the others, yeah, I'm happy with, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, of course, if you haven't already, and you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because we've got lots of very cool videos coming up in the future covering all the tech that you've just seen and lots of other stuff as well. And we are still a very, very small channel, so every single subscription really does help. And I'm kind of trying to go for the goal of 10,000 subscribers before the end of this year, so it really would help me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you again for another video very, very soon. Bye for now.